All right, guys, in this example, I want to show you how to construct the common tangent lines between two given circles. So I have started by just plotting two circles, and it doesn't matter how they're arranged. I just, for this example, I want them to be very disjoint, so a little far away from each other and be different sizes, just so we can see how this is going to work. And we are, again, only going to use the compass and straight edge functionalities here. So the first thing that we want to do is connect the center lines of these two circles. So connect the centers with the center line of the two circles. And then I'm just going to make this be a nice thin construction line. And the next thing that we want to do is to construct any line, okay, any line that goes through the center of one of the circles. So let's say that we do this through A. It can be any line, okay? It doesn't matter what the slope is. I'm going to do it this way so it's kind of out of the mix here. I'm going to leave this point E for a moment here, because what we want to do next is copy, and we have to use our compass to do this, but copy the angle made by the center line and this new line that we just constructed over here to B. All right, because what I want to do is construct a parallel line through the center to B here. All right, so down here with our compass tool, here we go. Here's our compass tool. We want to, okay, first of all, copy this circle right here and plop it here. And then we need to remember, measure the opening, right? Measure the opening of the arc here. So I think I need, well, I should be able to just click right here. Is that the right radius? I clicked here, it goes through there. Yeah, it's correct. And so that has to go right here. Okay, so just be careful when you do this. Make sure you get all the proper stuff. At this point now, we create the ray that goes right through there, and it should be parallel. So I'm going to make the whole line, not just the ray. So this should go from here through this point, although it does not look parallel at all. Something is wrong with what I've done there. So that was not the right one. So what I have to do is go back here, get a point, put this point right here. Okay, I think there was something happened to make this seem like it was close, but it wasn't exactly right. And then with my compass, I need to open, starting at F, open it through E. All right, it looks close, but it's not exactly the same radius as that circle, right? And that now goes right here. Okay, and at this point now we create the line that goes through. So just be very careful when you do these constructions. Those two lines are now parallel. All right, what do we need from these lines? Well, the point E we need. We also need some other points. So I'm going to mark all the points where these two lines intersect these two circles. All right, and we don't need all of them, but that's fine. And then I'm just going to kind of go through and make the construction lines thinner, as usual, as I usually do. I do this for myself mostly so that I don't get confused about what's what. Now, you never want to delete construction lines because you want to remember where everything came from, but this is all good. Now, there's going to be 4 tangent lines, right? But the question is, where do those tangent lines intersect the line of centers? So here's how we find that. It turns out that the points where the lines of tangency pass through the center line are going to be the intersection points of, so the interior one is the intersection of these two. It's this transversal, right? So you make a transversal that cuts both of the parallel lines that we made, and then you look at where it intersects. So this one right here, this is going to be an important point. So that point right there, I'm going to rename that point. Let me get my tool back here. And this point I'm going to name this C1. Okay? Maybe I can make it C1 like this. There we go, C1. So this is the point where the common tangent lines are going to intersect these two circles. Now, notice this one looks pretty close. Actually, this is pretty darn close to the tangent line, isn't it? That's just by chance, okay? That's just by chance. The next thing, so we can create the other one. So we'll have to figure out how to do that in a second. But the next line that we want to create, the next ray, I should say, that we want to create is the one that connects these two. And this one will definitely not be a tangent line. Okay. So there we go. We can see that that one's not tangent. That's cutting the circle for sure. All right, but then same deal. This point out here we'll call C2, this point of intersection. And let's just rename it. So there's C2. And as usual, make our construction lines thinner, just to keep them out of the way. Now this construction line looks real close to the tangent line that we want, but there's no guarantee that it is. So we can't assume that that's the actual tangent line. What we need to do now is we need to construct, so we have the point it's passing through. We need to construct a line that is tangent to this circle, right? And so it's tangent to this circle, and it is tangent to the circle and passing through this point. So the way that we do that is we construct this circle, right, which has as a diameter this A connected with C2. So we have to now construct the perpendicular bisector here to find the midpoint. All right, and again, we're doing everything by construction here. So we construct this circle, we construct this circle, right? Whoops. All right, and then we construct the perpendicular bisector of these two. And that gives us our midpoint up here. So let me thin out the construction lines one more time. Right now, by the way, one thing that you could do, and I probably should have done, is we can go to these circles and we can just make them a different color, right? So let's make these red just so that we don't forget that those are the important ones, right? And so at this point now we have the center point here. That didn't look, it looks like I missed. So this should be the intersection point. There we go. That's the intersection point. You can tell when you place a point, if it's on the intersection, it turns like this gray color, where the previous one was blue. It was just floating around. So that was it, right? So now what we need to do is go back to our compass and create the circle with center N and passing through these 2 points. Okay, passing through those 2 points. Everything is great. I'm going to just thin this construction line out. All right, and we have one more thing to do. We now connect this ray through this point of intersection. Probably I should label the intersection point first. So there's 2 of them here, right? There's this intersection point. There's a lot going on here. So what? I thought I had the point set here. Oh, there we go. That's not the right circle, so you have to be very careful. There we go. There's that one. And then up here, well, I think I need to actually hide some of these lines because there's too much going on. So here, hide or show object. That one is now hidden. Okay, go back to our point. Here we go. This should let us do it now. Well, it looks like I need to hide this too. This is, whoops, I don't want to hide that. I do want to hide this line though. So you can just work around this if you're using an actual compass, right? But there we go. Okay, so those are the points. And now we can construct arrays. So remember, array is perfectly fine with a straight edge, but it's going to connect C2 through P and C2 through O. All right, and you can see that these 2 rays are tangent to both circles. So these are 2 of the lines that we want. We'll make them blue. Had to get rid of some of the construction lines so that we could see it. But there you go. Those are the 2 exterior tangents that are shared by both of these circles. Now, what about the interior ones? Well, I said this one looks pretty close to being tangent already. So what do you do with the interior ones? Well, you do the same process. You find the intersection. So you find the circle that passes through. You could do it with this one if you want, just to keep your construction nice. But let's do it. I was going to let you guys do it, but let's finish it off. So you now use C1 and let's say B. There's a circle. You'd use B and C1. There's the circle. And then you construct the line to find the midpoint. So it's got to go from this point through this one. And that means that this point right here, let me mark it. Again, we might have to hide some things just to make sure that we can the other thing you can probably do is zoom in to make sure that you're getting all the right stuff. But that point S is now the center of our new circle. So let's go through and thin out our construction lines one more time. I know this is not the most riveting thing to watch, but it's important to know how to do it. And so at this point, we go back to our compass and we find, whoops, we find the circle center to S, right, that goes through both C1 and B. Look how close that point J is to the point we want. It's really, really close, right? And so we're going to have to hide that point so that we can, and probably a lot of the stuff around it, so that we can make sure that we're only getting the point that we want out of this construction. So down here, it's really close to this tangent line. That doesn't always happen, okay? But I think we should be able to get that. We can zoom in if we need to. And let's find our points. So, whoops, that was just a slip of the mouse. There's one. There's the other one. Okay, and so the last step is just to connect this point through this line, tangent to both circles on the interior. This point, very close to the made-up line that we constructed, right? Through this point, tangent. Looks like it's going through E. It's not going through E. It's going through something very close to E. Let's change the color and thin out this one last construction and call this a completed project, okay? So let's make these be green. So these are the interior tangents that are shared by both circles. There you go. Construction lines in the background, kind of, but there's so many of them that they really fill out the situation. We had to use the hide function quite a bit in this one because everything kind of got jammed up. But this is the picture, okay? This is a beautiful picture of tangent lines shared by two circles that are not intersecting.